So when you picture a building fire, what comes to mind? It's probably firefighters charging in, going up against the flames, with the building kind of just stuck in the middle, right? But what if I told you the building itself was one of your most important crew members? What if it was actually designed to fight the fire with you? All right, first things first, a huge shout out to Professor Freeman's Fire Protection Systems class over at Santa Ana College. This one's for you, so listen up. Just imagine this for a second. You're at the station, and then the tones drop. Commercial structure fire. As you're racing to the rig, the battle has already started. Yeah, that's right. The fight doesn't kick off when you pull up to the scene. Nope. It starts the very second you get that call. And your first tool? It's not a Holligan, it's not a hose line, it's information. It's all about reading the building before you ever even see it. I mean, just think about it. There are two ways you can roll up to this fire. One way, you have a pre-incident plan. You know the layout, you know the hazards, you know the systems, you're ahead of the game. The other way, you're going in completely blind. And let me tell you, every single second you waste trying to figure out the basics is another second the fire gets stronger. That's a massive disadvantage when every moment counts. This is where a good pre-incident survey becomes your absolute best friend. Seriously, it's like a cheat sheet for the fireground. It's going to tell you where the utility shutoffs are, what kind of crazy hazards might be inside. You know, is it just an office or is it a place storing a bunch of chemicals? This is the kind of intel your incident commander is using to build that initial game plan, the IAP, while you're still en route. Okay, so tires hit the pavement, you're on scene, and that clock, it is ticking loud. What you do in these first few minutes, what we call the size up, is going to set the stage for the entire incident. You get this right, you stay ahead of the fire. You get it wrong, and you're going to be playing catch up the whole time. All right, so what's the game plan? What are those immediate priorities? First, you're trying to get a 360-degree view of the building, if you can. What's it telling you? Where's the smoke coming from? Where's the fire? Next, you need water, and you need it now. So your eyes are scanning for the closest hydrant. And then you're looking for the building's lifeline, the fire department connection, the FDC. That's how you're going to pump water into the building's own sprinkler or standpipe systems. Once you've got water, access, and a plan, it's time to go to work. And speaking of access, I wouldn't invest in a building with poor fire department access. That's just a bad entry prize. Okay, but for real, finding that FDC and getting a solid water supply established is, well, it's everything. This right here, this is literally how the building talks to you. These symbols, they're standardized right out of NFPA 170, and they're a universal language on the fireground. They aren't just decorations on the side of a building, they're like giant road signs in the middle of all the chaos, basically yelling, hey, your lifeline is right here. Spotting these instantly during your size up is an absolutely non-negotiable skill. Okay, so water supply's established, the initial plan is rolling. Time to make entry. But here's the thing you gotta remember as you go inside. You are not alone. The building's own systems are designed to be your partner in this fight. And so much of that partnership boils down to really smart design, which, speaking of design, why did the architect break up with the engineer? Because he felt there wasn't enough compartmentalization in their relationship. Okay, bad jokes aside, that concept, compartmentation, is absolutely critical. It's really the building's first line of defense. We're talking about fire-rated walls, floors, and ceilings. They're designed to basically act like boxes, to contain the fire to the room where it started. This slows down its spread and protects the exit routes for people trying to get out, and, just as important, the entry routes for you. And it's not just the passive stuff. You've got these active systems working for you. Automatic sprinklers are already on the job, hitting the fire and controlling the heat before you even get water flowing. The standpipe system, that's your internal fire hydrant, letting you hook up your hose right on the fire floor instead of dragging hundreds of feet of hose up 20 flights of stairs. And those automatic fire doors, they slam shut when an alarm goes off, sealing off the area and reinforcing that compartmentation we were just talking about. All right, so you've hit the main body of fire, you've knocked it down. Now we're moving into control and overhaul. And guess what? Even now, the building's design is still working with you, helping you finish this thing safely. Now, this part is huge. Ventilation is so much more than just smashing out windows, right? It's all about controlling what we call the flow path. You have to coordinate opening a window with putting water on the fire. Because if you vent at the wrong time or in the wrong place, you're not letting smoke out. You're just feeding the fire fresh oxygen, and that can lead to a flashover. Using the building's own windows and doors strategically is how you vent smart. Another critical piece of making the whole scene safe, shutting down the utilities. You have got to take away the risk of electrocution, a gas explosion, or even just tons of unnecessary water damage. And how do you find those shutoffs in a smoky, chaotic building in a hurry? Yep, you guessed it, that pre-incident plan we talked about right at the start. See? It all comes full circle. So let's zoom out for a second and look at the big picture here. None of these features, not a single one, just appeared out of nowhere. Every fire-rated wall, every sprinkler head, every exit sign, they're all there for a reason. And often, it's a tragic one. You know, the fire codes you're studying in class, they are literally written in the aftermath of some really terrible events. The Triangle Shirtwaist Fire back in 1911, where exits were locked, that's what gave us our modern egress codes. The Coconut Grove Fire in '42, that led to much stricter rules on things like flammable decorations and how many people you can pack into a space. The lessons learned from these fires built the safe designs we rely on today. And your actions on scene and your reports after, they continue that legacy. When you boil it all down, it comes to this one crucial point. When you understand how a building is designed to handle a fire, you can use that design to your advantage. These systems, all this engineering, it's all there for one fundamental reason: life safety. It's designed to help everyone, you, your crew, and the public, go home at the end of the day. So I'm going to leave you with this thought. Every single building you walk into for the rest of your career has a story, a strategy built right into its walls. The question is, will you know how to read it? And will you know how to use it to win?